Enter the Gungeon is a casual, easy, and fun video game made for new and experienced gamers and fun for the whole family.
Just kidding, if you like dying, bullet hells, bullets shooting bullets, and crying yourself to sleep every night, then this game is perfect for you. So order now for the low price of 300,000 Vietnamese dong, and you can experience the pain of Enter the Gungeon, and what makes this game awesome.
Terms and conditions apply. Enter the Gungeon is a roguelike twin-stick shooter bullet hell, which basically means that every time you die, you start right from the beginning. Like Crypt of the Necrodancer and The Binding of Isaac, you end up going on runs, where you collect gear, items, and weapons, and if you die, you lose all of them. The game is based around this, and getting through the multiple floors of the Gungeon, which is a big, multi-floor dungeon where living bullets guard a gun that is able to kill the past itself. Okay, yeah, the plot's kinda stupid, but hey, at least they gave it a shot. So fucking good, dude. At the start of every run, you get the chance to pick from different characters, including the mercenary, the convict, the local co-op character, and more characters that you can unlock throughout the game as you go on. Each one has a different starter gun, passive ability, and item. For example, the mercenary has a pistol that can shoot about a dozen times and then has to reload. He can also take one hit without it reducing his health, and can call an ammo supply drop with his item. All the characters feel slightly different at first, but later in a run, if you end up relying on their starter gun and item, which is surprisingly common, it can make a massive difference. The convict, for example, has to reload more often, but the bullets do more damage, so it does make you change your playstyle depending on which character you want to play as. Each floor of the Gungeon is randomly generated and has you exploring the map, going through rooms with enemies placed through them. Your character can only take 6 hits by default, or 7 if you're the mercenary, which may seem like a lot, but considering there aren't very many health restoration items in the game, and you don't get fully restored after bosses or anything, I'd say for a bullet hell this will get tough pretty quickly. Luckily, you have a dodge roll that you can use to jump over bullets fired by the enemies, which is pretty much a must to make it through this game. Killing enemies gives you shells, which you can spend at the shop to buy guns, health, armor, and items, and these normally are pretty helpful to make it through each level. You can also get blanks, which let you clear all the bullets on the screen and stun the enemies for a few seconds if the room or boss's bullets is too hard to dodge. These things aren't exactly common and you can't rely on them, but in a pinch they can help sometimes. I say that these things aren't common, but I haven't really said where you can get them from. After killing all the enemies in a room, sometimes a health bullet, blank, or a key is dropped, and also sometimes you can find the chest instead of a bullet room. These need the keys to unlock and usually hold a gun. You can switch between guns and there are tons of different ways of them firing, like semi-auto, fully auto, short range with high damage, long range with low damage, and loads more that all do completely different things. You can hold, as far as I'm aware, unlimited guns in your inventory, so there's no need for inventory management. You can just pick up guns and shoot stuff. Now, controls wise, at least in my opinion, this game does kind of feel made for a controller. It's perfectly playable on keyboard and mouse. You use WASD to move and the mouse to aim, as far as I'm aware, but it does feel much more natural on controller when you use the camera stick to choose the exact direction around your character that you're aiming, and the movement stick to move. All of the button mappings seem really natural on controller, and considering you can't actually aim at specific spots, just in a direction, I feel that the extra accuracy that you normally get with a mouse and keyboard is kind of lost on this game, so if you have a controller lying around, I do think this is the better way to play the game, and it does come with built-in support for PS4 and Xbox One controllers, so you should have absolutely no problem there. In terms of presentation, the game has a retro pixelated graphical style, with some live lighting effects applied to the surroundings. I feel this suits the game quite well. I've said I like the style before, and they did it good here too. The soundtrack isn't really anything special, but it sets the mood well, and it isn't bad by any means, just nothing particularly mind-blowing. Every level has multiple possible bosses, and each one is a pretty tough challenge. Gatling Gull, the Trigger Twins, and the Bullet King are the 3 for the first level, and they're all interesting characters that provide a different challenge. They all shoot tons of bullets on screen at once, making it really hard to dodge the bullet hell and shoot the boss at the same time. For example, the Trigger Twins gives you 2 targets to aim for, but Gatling Gull as an entity is faster and harder to kill, but you only need to aim for him. I'd say the bosses are really cool and only continue to get harder through the game, but I'm not going to show you any past the first stage because I don't want to spoil every single one for you. They're actually quite fun to see for yourself and figure out how to beat. Each boss drops a gun and a few health bullets bullets after you kill it, but normally not enough to fully heal if you've been careless, and sometimes they drop armor instead of health bullets, which isn't actually quite as good. In some other roguelikes, you reach checkpoints where you can restart from a later point in the game after you reach it, and while Enter the Gungeon does have a couple of shortcuts, they are incredibly difficult to get. The most well-known one is that you can start from the second level if you can beat the first level's boss without taking a single hit, and let me say right now, trying to do this broke me. The random level generation is very, very good. There are tons of types of rooms for each level, meaning even after rerunning a floor 50 times, you'll still be seeing new areas, enemy layouts, and even enemies in some cases. Each room is well themed to the level, and some contain secrets that let you figure them out, or use the Gungeon wiki to learn about them. There are quite a few, like putting out the fireplace with a water barrel to access a secret area, and stuff like that. There are also tons of guns in the game, all are really different, unique, and some catch you pretty off guard. I've run this game a lot, and I still have not even seen half the guns in the game. This gun fires t-shirts, this gun shoots trash bags, this one changes between a shotgun and a pistol on every reload, this one's an alien firearm. There are so many that you won't run out of new guns for absolutely ages. Of course, apart from the starter gun, the guns that you get are randomly generated, as well as the items that you can get from the shopkeeper and that you get after emptying a room of enemies. This obviously does inherently make some runs better than others, but that's pretty much how all roguelikes work, and as I said in my Crypt of the Necrodancer video, I don't see a way of changing this without losing the format, and honestly, I don't really see a reason for them to. Having broken runs can be pretty fun sometimes. However, Gungeon really places a lot more emphasis on your skill level, and much less on reliance on items, as even with some really powerful guns, you still often will have to dodge bullets and take on multiple enemies at a time. It's never gonna be a breeze. Gungeon is one of my favorite roguelikes, which is really weird for me because a couple of years ago I didn't even know what a roguelike was, and I wasn't really into them. After playing Crypt of the Necrodancer, Dead Cells, Rogue Legacy, and this game, they have actually really started to get me into roguelikes, and I feel like this one is one of the most unique ones I've played. It really sets itself apart from the others, and while the bullet hell aspect really does make it harder, I feel that that's a good thing. It provides a very different kind of challenge to other roguelikes, whereas in other ones you might have to manage your items very carefully or your money. In Gungeon, it's a lot more based on your skill with guns, and then the added luck of what guns you can get does keep the runs interesting. A decent chunk of the game is based purely around luck, which I have absolutely no problem with. The game is heavily centered around your skill, so while the luck helps to keep things interesting and the different kinds of bosses that you can get do make for objectively harder or easier runs, it's purely based on if you are able to handle them, and that is just part of the game, and I don't feel at all that it makes it unfair. The soundtrack, graphical style, gameplay, and a hard but manageable difficulty curve are definitely what makes this game awesome for me. I do feel like at some points it was incredibly hard, and while I've said in other videos that this can kind of turn a lot of people away, I do feel like in this game they are kind of justified with it. And I feel like there should be maybe an alternate mode where you could play on an easier mode but get less rewards or something. But overall, I don't think the difficulty of this game really is something that should bring its score down. The variation that you get by the RNG really does make the variation between runs interesting and fun. And it kind of makes it one of those games where you can pick up and play it for a couple of minutes or for hours on end, and it's still a ton of fun no matter what you do. So overall, I would rate Enter the Gungeon an 8 out of 10. I absolutely love this game, it's really good, definitely check it out if it's on a sale, or even if you've just been looking at it for a while and you were wondering if it's any good at all. This is a great game if you want a unique and interesting roguelike, and hell, if you've never done a roguelike or a bullet hell before, then maybe this one will get you out of your shell. Kill me. Anyway guys, make sure to like if you liked the video and subscribe to see more stuff like this from the channel. I'm working on a bunch more reviews right now, so if you have anything to say about this game or any games you want to recommend, make sure to let me know what they are in the comments below. Also check out my social stuff, the links are on screen now and in the description, and I will see you in the next review, so see you there.